Good morning, Year 6, and happy Friday. Or as we say in Year 6, happy Friday. Hope you enjoy your last video of the week. Same rules apply as yesterday. Thank your adults and parents at home for helping you with your learning. And if there are bits in this video that you really don't understand, please drop me an email. Mrs. Perry and I will do the best that we can to help and support you. And start with the bits that you need to work on. Don't stress if you're really good at one of the areas that we're explaining on the video and you're getting a bit stressed because there's a lot to do. You can pick and choose which bits are important for you to be learning at the moment. So without further ado, enjoy your video. Today we have got on offer for you some more questions about Tom's Midnight Garden. We are using division to solve problems. We'll be looking at expanding noun phrases in SPAG, and we will be hopefully completing our Stone Age information text.
Hello Year 6. Today we're going to read chapters 9 and 10 of Tom's Midnight Garden. Something quite interesting happens in these chapters, so hope you enjoy it. There'll be some questions for you to do when you've done your reading. They were good chapters, weren't they? And did you realise that two of the characters can now see Tom, which is quite interesting. Here are your questions for today, and then on the next page there are the answers for you. Good luck with your questions. Here are the answers for today's questions, so you'll be able to see how you got on. And now we're going to do some maths today. For your skills practice today, we're going to look at counting in decimal numbers. The way that this works, we've got 0.5 in the middle there. And if we look on the red line, we're going to take away 3. So you start here with 0.5, you're going to take away 3, take away 3, take away 3. Now obviously you'll go down into negative numbers as you take away 3. As we go back up, the inverse of taking away 3 is adding 3. So you'll add 3, add 3, add 3. And then by starting here, when you check it, it'll be take away 3, take away 3, take away 3, and so on. So on the yellow line, you're going to, it tells you to take away 5. So on the yellow line, you'll be take away 5, take away 5, take away 5. Obviously going down into your negative numbers there. The inverse will be add 5, add 5, add 5. Hope you can see how that works. And then on the purple line, you're going to take away 2. So take away 2, you'll come down into your negative numbers, take away 2, and then adding 2 to come up this way. So have a go at filling in what you think the numbers would be, and you'll be able to check on the next page. Here are the answers then to your sequences today. This one here is quite interesting, going from there to there. Hope you counted it correctly. 0.5 would be negative 0.5, negative 1.5, and then negative 2.5. So that's how that one works. And for our main part of the lesson today, we're going to look at using division to solve some problems, and in particular we're going to think about what we do with the remainders at the end of the division, depending on what our question was. So just a quick recap then of how to solve your divisions. If you look at the example here, it tells you how to do your divisions. We start off by thinking about how many 5s in 1. You would often put a 0 here, wouldn't you, and put the 1 remainder there. So then it's how many 5s in 12, then how many 5s in 24, and so on. Hopefully you can see the way that's being worked through. Because we have a remainder of 3 at the end here, we were dividing by 5, so we can actually say that we've got 3 out of 5 left. 3 out of 5 left. So we can write the remainder at the end as a fraction. So here's the final answer written with a fraction. So Year 6, we now need to have a think about what to do with the remainders once we've solved a problem. And in these problems below, there are different things happening each time with the remainders. So number 1, Sarah is taking free-range chicks to sell at the farmer's market. She can put 12 chicks in each cage. She has 160 chicks. How many cages does she need to take all the chicks? So we're going to take all the chicks. So you get your chicks, 160, if you look at the red part, 160. Share them out into groups of 12 because you're going to share them into cages and put 12 in each cage. And we find out that we have 13 full cages and 4 chicks left over. So looking at the green, we've got 13 full cages and 4 chicks left over. Now she will actually need 14 cages to carry all her chicks, because if she only has the 13 cages, there's 4 chicks left over with no cage to go in. So you need to get that 14th cage to carry all the chicks. So in that example, whilst the answer to the question is 13, remainder 4, your final answer about how many cages is 14. Number 2, she's also taking eggs. She has 257. How many full boxes of 6 eggs can she take? So we get the 257 eggs, share them into groups of 6 because you're putting 6 in each box, and we find out that we've got 42 full boxes and 5 eggs left over. Now in this example, because you were asked how many full boxes, the answer is 42, and you're just going to have 5 eggs left over and not worry about them. If they said to you how many boxes are needed to carry all of the eggs, you'd have to say 43 because you wouldn't leave 5 eggs with no box. But you were asked how many full boxes can you make, and the answer to that is 42. So hopefully you can see the difference between the first question and the second and what we did with our remainders. Number 3, a hotel chef needs 78 eggs to make desserts for this evening. How many boxes of 12 is this? There is a mistake on this calculation. It should say in red 78 divided by 12, and the answer is correct if you divide by 12. So 78 eggs divided into groups of 12, that should be, and the answer is 6, remainder 6. So we have 6 full boxes and 6 eggs left over. Now you were asked how many full boxes of 12 does he have, and the answer is 6. We're not going to worry about the leftover eggs. And the last one, 6 children are sharing a box of 20 fish fingers. How many can they each have? You get the 20 fish fingers, share them between the 6 children. They can each have 3, and there's 2 fish fingers left over. Now instead of wasting those last 2 fish fingers, we can actually share those out between the 6 children. So they would finally have 3 whole ones each, and then they would have 2/6, or that's equivalent to 1/3 of a fish finger each. So in that case, we carried on and we shared out those last fish fingers instead of just leaving them. So I hope you can see that in each problem, what we did with the remainders was slightly different depending on the little story that we'd been told. Now you're going to try some problems like this. I want you to think quite carefully about the story you're being told and what would you do with the things that are left over at the end. Would you not need them? Would you need to put them into a box? Would you actually share those out? So careful thinking about the story. So here are your problems for today. Think carefully what you're going to do with your remainders at the end, please. Good luck with this. Pause the video while you do it and you'll be able to see the answers when you restart. So here are the answers. Hopefully you thought carefully about the remainders and what you needed to do. And we're getting on okay with that work. And finally, to check your understanding today, some questions that make you think a little bit harder. 4 things for you to do. You can pause the screen while you're doing these and then check the answers at the end. And here are the answers to the questions today. You'll be able to see how you got on. Well done with your maths today, and the next part of the video will be Spag with Miss Tucker. Bye for now.
Hello my lovelies. Right, as I said yesterday, what I would like you to do, if you're looking at the title of expanded noun phrases and you think, yeah, I'm really good at that, I'd like you to skip ahead to one of the question pages. I would like you to complete the questions, and if you get them all right or most of them right, and you feel really confident with your ability, move on. If you're looking at this title and thinking, actually, I want to revise what expanded noun phrases are, or you go and have a go at the questions and you get a few more than you'd like wrong, come back, watch this video, and then try the questions. So let's refresh, revise, let's recap our learning about expanded noun phrases. So, expanded noun phrases. We're going to start with this picture of this rather grumpy looking little pug wearing a bow tie. So the noun I'm going to go for in here, the object, is dog. Okay, that is my noun. I'm going to expand this noun by describing the dog a little bit. So I'm going to start with the determiner, the dog. Okay, so the determiner tells me how many or what quantity or which specific noun we are talking about. So here I'm talking about the dog, the one dog. It tells me there's only one dog that we're talking about. I'm now going to describe him a little bit. So I've expanded my noun from dog to the noun phrase of the wrinkly dog, because of all the little wrinkles on his face. What cutie. So this is now what we would call a noun phrase. It's now a collection of words that are describing the noun. It's not a single noun by itself, because that's just a noun. This is now a noun phrase because it is a collection of words, not a full clause, so it doesn't need a subject and a verb. This is just a phrase, sorry, I'm getting all jumbled up, that is describing the noun of the dog, so the wrinkly dog. When we have these all together, it creates an expanded noun phrase. Now, if I wanted to describe something else, I could have a, which is my determiner, red, spotted, notice the comma in between to separate the adjectives in a list, bow tie. This is also an expanded noun phrase because it's got a determiner, adjective or adjectives, and a noun. So it doesn't matter if we have one adjective, it doesn't matter if we have two adjectives, it doesn't matter if we have 27 adjectives. As long as we've got a determiner, adjectives, and noun, that creates an expanded noun phrase. Now here, I'm going to use my two expanded noun phrases to create a full sentence. Okay, so the wrinkly dog with a red spotted bow tie. So I'm describing the sentence, describing the picture, sorry, with two expanded noun phrases. So have a little look on here. Can you find the answers to these questions? Pause and we will restart with the answers. Okay, I'm going to go through the answers now. So the first one we have to think which is the most suitable phrase, expanded noun phrase, to put into this sentence to complete the expanded noun phrase. So the something city of Liverpool is a popular choice for students when choosing which university to attend. So if you are a student and you're leaving high school and sixth form or college or whatever, and you're going to university, are you going to want a boring place to go? Is that a word that you would like to describe? Or cultural or lively? Have a think. It's going to be cultural and lively. If it's popular, there's going to be lots of people there. So it's going to be lively, there's going to be a lot of people. We went to Liverpool when we went to the Maritime Docks, didn't we? And it was really, really busy. It was lively, it was exciting because there's lots of museums, it's cultural. So we know that is a good way to explain Liverpool. Next up, we have to underline the expanded noun phrases. So the large broken down bus, determiner the, adjectives large and broken down, and the noun is bus. Let's look at the next one. The determiner, cute, newborn are both adjectives, and puppies is the noun. Josh is incorrect. He has not used a good expanded noun phrase because it involves more than one adjective. Actually, he's used softly and quietly. They are not adjectives. They are adverbs because they're describing how the bird whistled, not so they're describing the verb, not a noun. So they are adverbs. Okay, my lovelies. So we have got 4 more questions for you, all about expanded noun phrases. Have a go and resume the video when you are ready. Okay, I'm going to go through the answers for you now. So the first question, we need to think about the combination of words, the different word classes in the sentence, the angry giant shouted at Jack. So the underlying bit, we need to think, what word classes are they? The word the, we know is a determiner. We know another word for the word determiner is article. Angry is an adjective. It is describing a noun, which is giant. Well done if you got that one right. Next up, the option which is underlined is a noun phrase. The title of this video should have given you a clue, but it could have been a red herring. We know it is a noun phrase because it is describing the noun Venus flytrap. Next up, the two noun phrases in the sentence below. Oh, sorry, wrong one. You should have ticked the noun phrase, the tiny insect. So we've got the, which is the determiner or article, tiny, which is the adjective, and insect, which is the noun. So quickly is an adjective, it is an adverb. We know that's not involved in noun phrases. Had been eating the verb, and very colourful. It's describing something, but we don't know what it is. There's no noun in there. So the answer is the top one. And the last one that I tried to go to before, my apologies, is the two noun phrases. You should have circled the hungry cats and the delicious fish. Well done if you got those right. Okay, team, so what I would like you to do now is have a practice at writing expanded noun phrases. I've got an image here of lots of different characters in a park, and I would like you to write a sentence about each, well, not each of them, you don't have to do all of them, do about 5 or 6, about the different 5 or 6 different characters using expanded noun phrases. Your expanded noun phrases should then be able to be used to help find the person. So, for example, on here they've taken a pale, slim man. They've added a second expanded noun phrase by saying a pale, slim man with blue baggy shorts. And then they've gone even further into detail by adding a preposition and a verb telling me what they're doing and where they're doing it. So if I took, for example, this chap, I could say a tanned, tall man with a yellow vest rode his Segway on the path. That would be my full sentence, and from there I should be able to find him in that picture. So please take a bit of time now to find 5 or 6 different characters and write some sentences about them. Okay, my lovelies, so today's English is all about finishing up your information text. I've put a copy of the expanding success criteria that we've been using this week here for you to look at. What I would like you to do before you start to write anything is to look at the bits on this expanding success criteria and think, what have you included? If there is one area or one of the techniques that you haven't included as much or you haven't included at all, I would like you to try and get it into today's writing if possible. What I would like you to do is take your time, finish off your information text. There is room, if you are using the electronic copy or template that I provided through Padlet, there's room at the bottom for you to create a glossary. So if you go through and find any technical language that you think somebody might not understand at first, and you highlight it in bold and then write it at the bottom and a definition, you could use colons to do that, which would take this bit off for you as well. You could do that if you like, if you're doing it on paper or doing it in your book as well. That is also possible to add a glossary, which is a really good example of using a colon to define new words. Okay, team, so if you've just finished your writing and you're happy with everything and you've covered all the bases that you would like to, my next job for you is to go away and have a little brain break for half an hour or so, because before we start to edit, we need a fresh mind. To go straight from writing to editing is a really tall ask for our brains to deal with, and we're more likely to spot any errors or misconceptions and be able to fix them when we're coming to a text with a fresh pair of eyes. So if you have had a little brain break and you're ready to start editing, this is the process that it will follow. You're going to start over here with your audience and purpose. We know that our audience are young adults, teenagers or older. We know that the purpose of this text is to inform them about the Stone Age. So we need to be thinking about that the whole time. So we need to be thinking about that formal language for that audience. And we need to be thinking, is this informative? Is this telling facts to the reader? You will then keep that thought in your head as you go along this little path all the way to the end. When you get to each station, there are several different question cards in the PDF for today. Now, I've only included the ones that I think go with information text, so there's a few less than there are actually on this diagram. So, for example, we've got to Grammar Grove, and now I'm going to look at my formality fountain. I've gone to formality fountain, I found the question slide in the PDF, and now I'm going to start thinking about the questions. So for example, on formality fountain, it's going to be asking me to look for any contractions. So have I used any contractions in my work? We know that if we're trying to write formally for our slightly older audience, we will not need contractions in our work. We don't want contractions because they are informal language. So instead of me going and looking through my text and saying, yeah, there's loads, and going, right, next question, I need to be going through and going, oh yeah, I've used a couple here and there. Now I'm going to try and fix it. If it is a misconception that you can fix or a little error that you can fix, I'd like you to try and edit it out. Obviously, if you're using a computer, that's easier to do. If you're doing it by hand, if you've written your information text by hand, just grab a pen or a pencil. It doesn't have to be a different colour. It doesn't have to be a purple polishing pen like we use in school. If you'd like it to be to show that you've edited it, that's fine. If you would like it to blend in more with the rest of your text, just use the same pen or pencil that you've been using to write with. Cross it out and edit it. Then you're going to move along and keep going along your path, keep going through all the questions, and then you'll keep going. If, for example, you get to colon college, we haven't covered colons in our input in this video, so it might be hard for you to remember back to when we last talked about them. If there's questions on here that you don't know the answer to, you can't recall, you can't bring that information back from when we last talked about them in class, that's fine. It doesn't need to be a publishable standard of work. It just needs to be your best work. So if you can't quite remember how we use colons between clauses, for example, that's fine. Don't worry. Just say, I'm not quite sure about that one. Ms. Tucker will cover it in another video, or drop me an email and I will give you a hand if I can at the time. So go through, answer the questions and take your time to make it the best that it can be. Remember, when your writing is finished, if you can please email me either an electronic copy if you've done it on the template, or if you take a really good quality picture so I can read the writing, and drop it to me at the Year 6 email. That's on the front of your PDF as well. That would be brilliant, because I can use all these pieces of writing that you produce now to help form your end of year judgment. So when we send off all your details to your high schools, I can put on your writing level, which any piece of writing in this this half of February half term, February half term, sorry, we can use any piece of writing from then to help our judgment. So we've got a few in our bank from when we're at school, but any more that we can add in that will only boost your grade. So please send me anything that you've done writing wise, and I'll add it into your portfolio for you. Okay, fabulous. I will let you crack on with your editing. We made it. We made it to Friday, the That's It page. Well done, everybody. You've worked so hard this week. Like I said yesterday morning, it's a really hard and new and different environment to be finding all of ourselves in. So really well done. I'm so impressed with everybody's efforts at home with their home learning. The stuff that you guys are producing is phenomenal. So really well done to you, and well done to all the adults at home that are helping you. All of you, adults and children, are doing a really good job. So be very proud of yourself. Now, I do believe in the quality of a good weekend. So try not to do too much academic stuff, but if you really want to, if you're enjoying it, and you feel that urge to crack on with learning, there are lots of websites down here that you can have a look at. The BBC Bite Size page is doing a really good job There's some fabulous little mini lessons on there, and they cover random bits as well. So it won't all be about the Stone Age or about what it's all different types of topics. They also have PSHE or wellbeing lessons, which might be really nice to have a look at if you're feeling a little bit worried or a little bit stressed at the moment. That would be a nice place to have a look at. Don't forget our Padlet to do shout outs or to share any learning that you've done this week. It'd be really nice to see, and you get to share it with everybody else in your class. So my lovelies, have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And I will speak to you on Monday. Bye guys.